Hey guys, and how's it going? Hey, we're gonna, this is gonna be, I guess, part 2 on this bucket truck that I bought a couple of weeks ago. It's a pile, and I pretty much expected that, but it was also cheap. So, on the previous video, it was pretty much retrieving the vehicle, getting on the trailer, getting it here, getting on the lift, doing an assessment, walk around, and starting to do a little bit of wrenching on it. And that consisted of, it had a blown brake line for the rear circuit. The AC compressor was locked up, so they cut the belt off of it, and with that you have no power steering, you have no cooling system, you know, the water pump's not turning, and no charging system. So I have no idea how that stuff is, how it works. Again, I just kind of putted it around from out on the trailer to in here, and that's it. So also we went to go with the hydraulics for the bucket. The hydraulics have two systems on them. Primary system, which on this one runs off the engine, it runs off of a pump that is engine driven on the van. That system was working, but then it also has a emergency system which kind of looks like a starter motor, and it runs off of 12 volts. That's like a secondary in case something happens, you're up in the air, you have another way to get the bucket down. That is not functioning, so we'll get into that. All right, enough talking. Why don't we say we get back into wrenching and start getting some stuff accomplished. We did get, so here's the old, for those who haven't seen. This was the AC clutch that was in there, and you can see that it was totally shot. We were able to get that out of there barely, and I had to go wait for parts, and those new parts have showed up. Got a new clutch, got a new tensioner that wasn't there, and the belt that was cut. We have that also. All right, let's get her up in the air, start doing some wrenching. So the issue at hand is, when I was taking the pulley off of the front of the AC compressor, right here, this lip broke off. This is where a snap ring would have been, and then it was probably about another 1/16 of metal going around. This doesn't spin, only the center of it spins. The outer part here kind of locks the clutch from turning. I don't really care about the AC working or not working, but I do not want this to walk off. I don't want the pulley. I'll show you. Here's the one that came off there. You can see the broken piece that's still on there. I don't want this pulley to walk off on us while it's running. That would kind of suck. So I don't know if we get a good enough press fit on there. I don't know if that's aluminum or steel. I'm gonna go grab a magnet real quick and see what that is. Let's see what we get. Yeah, that's aluminum. Unfortunately, I was hoping I could put a tack weld on it and help hold it, but that's not gonna happen yet. It's all this one. Looks like it's all one piece right here. That's why it broke so easy. All right, well, hopefully, I have a feeling what we should probably do then is maybe not clean the surface up so well, so that there's a lot of drag when this gets pushed on there. And again, how for us to get that pressed on. Normally they just slide on. And of course, you can tell by the rust of this thing, it looks like it's been under the ocean for a couple of years. So let's go get the new pulley. We'll set it up on there, and we'll see how it goes. So this part of the clutch would just lock to the outer side. This is the magnet, is the part that gets power and it pulls the clutch disc in or out. I think we should be able to tap that on there pretty good without an issue. But we're more concerned about, again, whether that bearing will have some drag and stay there. There is the outer plate that locks the two of them together, and that has a bolt in it too. So I don't think it'll walk off all the way. Just the possibility of it having drag. If it starts to walk back, I can get it. If that starts to walk out, the only thing it's going to do is going to rub against this plate. This ties the two of them together, and it has a bolt in the center of it. So that'll just start dragging on that, probably trying to turn the AC. Yeah. It's funny, I don't see anything that like keys that. You would think that there would be something that would lock into. Right? Like a tab or something. Guess we just kind of line it up with that plug and get ourselves like a brass mallet, and we'll just kind of tap on it. Again, I'm not cleaning those surfaces up on purpose. Not much of the way of room up in here, so I might hit you in the head. I apologize ahead of time. See? I think I'm gonna have to move you guys out of the way. I gotta swing where your face is. Wasn't too bad. I ended up getting in there with a brass rod and was able to go hit on the face of it. But Now this is the one that we have to try to be a little bit more gingerly with. This is the one that has the bearing in it and the one that's going to be spinning all the time. That has to be able to go fit inside and still turn. I'm kind of leery about cleaning that surface up too much because I want it to drag the best as possible, but at the same token I want to beat the crap out of it trying to get it on and or have it rub. So I think what I'm going to do is the same thing with the brass rod. I got a thinner brass rod, but I want to hit, because this is the surface that I'm mating, I want to hit on this race right here. That way I'm transferring the energy through the race, not across the bearing surface, killing the bearing. So again, I don't think you guys are going to fit up in there with me. So I'll bring you back. Well, I would have preferred for it to go on with a little bit more resistance than what it did. So it does spin. Everything does what it should. My thoughts are it could dribble a little bit of Loctite. I should probably have tried this on something else. Oh, there you go. Not too much. You don't want to go where you don't want to go. Just kind of want to fit. I'm going to take a Q-tip and work that around a little bit, I think. Get it out of the center. Oops, sorry. And then, I think our next best bet, stop it, would be to come around with a punch. I'm going to come around with a punch and just kind of tap right here. And just try to, do again, tap on this outer edge here and kind of splay out the face of it so that it has a little bit of resistance to try to come off. So again, there's no snap ring holding that anymore. So it doesn't work as good as steel as far as peening over the edges. The aluminum just kind of crumbles away, but I think the Loctite will get it once it dries. So this is the internal spline, which is actually the pump itself, independent of the belt. But what this gets is shims. You got to shim with washers in the center of that. You space out on there. You want to get an air gap across the end of this. I am not that concerned about that. Again, I'm not really worried about the AC working. I'll never be in this fan driving it more than 30 feet from place to place. I'm going to go just put in what was in there, which I think was 3 washers. And we'll bolt that up. If I have a problem where it bottoms out, I'll shim it out a little bit further, but I'm not going to get into the measuring of it. I want to get the belt on this thing and see what we got. All right, that's got it. And again, you can see the air gap. There's 3 washers in there. I'll put the new ones in. Came with it. And then you would take a feeler gauge and you would try to set up a dimension. I don't know what it is. Right? My guess would probably be like 6 to 10 thou. And then when the magnet on the inside energizes, it pulls that plate in and ties the 2 of them together so that they spin together, and that runs the AC pump and then clicks off. When you hear your car clicking on and off, the AC going, that's what's actually doing the clicking, is this setup right here. Yeah, here's whatever that setup was on there. Can't tell you the gap there. I was way off. New part, 18 to 30 thou it would want. Anyway, so I'm going to move things along. I'm going to go throw the tensioner on it, get the belt on it. We'll get past all that stuff and we'll fire it up together, see how it does, because we got plenty of other stuff to go work on. The tensioner is bolted on, and it's got a 1/2 inch drive right here. You put a socket in, a ratchet in it, or extension, or whatever, breaker bar, and it can push down on to get the tension preload on it. So that pulley's all the way down. It's going to go pop upwards to put tension on the belt. But I took a socket and wedged it right there to hold it in place, so I'm not trying to fight that while I'm trying to feed the belt through. And then when I'm all said and done, I'll just pop the ratchet back in there and just kind of give her a little yiff, and it'll go back into operating position, hopefully. Well, that's one down. Let's get it clamped off. These help you hold the belt in place while you're trying to thread it through the other places. Maybe you can throw one or 2 of those on. So now we got to get the second one on. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. This is the one that runs the auxiliary pump for the hydraulics. It's kind of aftermarket setup they bolted to the front of it. And belt number 2, it's got slack in it right now. I ended up putting a wrench on that tensioner, opening it up and putting vice grips across it because I couldn't get anything jammed in there. Hopefully, there we go. All tightened right up. I'm going to go throw the airbox assembly back in. Oh, you know what we got to do? The starter solenoid is no good. I'm going to go change that out because it cranks sometimes and doesn't crank. So get that knocked out, put the ductwork back on, and I think we could fire it up. This is what the solenoid looks like for those who care. Solenoid relay. So power coming in from the battery, going out to the starter hot lead. You have a ground terminal and then a hot lead coming from the ignition switch that sends a switch, a signal down here, and inside here it pulls in a big set of contacts and makes power from this one to this one. That's why when it won't start for you. You take a wrench and you jump across it and it'll start because the points are burned out inside there. I think we got it. The airbox is back on it. This lead was disconnected from the battery. I'm not going to hook it up, plus the fuse was removed. I'm not quite sure it was hooked up to that. Later on, if we find something that's not working, maybe we'll chase that. Well, you know what we've got to do? We've got to put brake fluid in it too, because the brake fluid went down to nothing. We'll top that off real quick. Well, the ground post isn't on all that great, but let's just see what we get, if anything. I got no power. Yeah, I might want to go fix that. All right, let's go see what blows up. Still no crank. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I hope it's not the starter. Because I crossed it and it jumped before. I also see some alarm light going off down there. Get rid of that. Hopefully there's enough room. You get in there, see, jump it, see if it goes. You stay around it. Figure out why that's not working for us. Well, it's not noisy, that's good. Nothing's howling, no growling pulleys. Let's go see if we got power steering and all that kind of stuff. And charging system, probably the biggest thing. Charge gauge looks good, not saying that that's working. We'll put a meter on that. We got power steering. Yes. Definitely got a dead miss, but hit the brake pedal a couple of times. I believe it's got ABS pump that when you hit the brake pedal pumps it through. I know it's got a bunch of air in it right now, but just want to see if fluid comes out anywhere underneath the van. It actually feels like the pedal wants to build up a little bit. There it goes. Yeah. So I think we get the air out of that. That should be okay. Now we got to figure out why we don't have a crank signal. Let's go try it again. Yeah. Take a quick look, see if anything's leaking underneath. Hopefully not. I just think the van probably sat a long time, locked up that AC pulley there, and that was it. That means the gas probably in it is really old too. Alright, I'll bring it back when it's up. I know I got to run it more, but I just want to see if we got anything. I don't want to fill up my shop with exhaust, as it's like 10 degrees out and I'll lose all my heat. It looks decent. I don't see anything popping out right away. That area is kind of wet, huh? What's that, the tranny cooler? Keep an eye on that. And let's just see if we have any brake line issues. And oh, suspect anything after. Should be after the yeah. Ah, you stuck that one right there, split. That would explain that tramp stamp. Yeah, pretty much all the steel lines, you figure. sir. All right, so we'll get that one replaced, and I'll bring you back. Oh, that's not going to win any beauty prizes. Let's try it again, see what we get. My fear is that the calipers are going to start moving out and they're going to lock right up. I think my fears of have some validity to them too, apparently. I don't think that rotor's seen a brake pad up against it in a decade. I'm going to fire it up again. I threw a meter on the battery. I'm going to go check this charging system. That battery's low. It should be about 12.7 to 12.9. Where are those contacts? Somewhere down in there. Come see. That's good. It's already jumping up. You rev it up, it should be about 13.5 to 14.5. The charging system's working. That's good. Because that also charges the battery for the backup. Let's hit the brake pedal a couple of times again. Seems decent. Again, I still have to bleed it, but just want to make sure it's not pushing any fluid through the system. All right. So we have, hopefully nothing's pissing out of it anymore. Glad it didn't get on the other car. That would have sucked getting it on the paint, huh? Yeah, I don't say dripping. I might have it for now. I want to go figure out why that ignition switch is not working. It's going to be kind of important when you're up in a bucket and wanting to start it. So I tried putting a test light on the terminal, this terminal coming out, and see if I got any power coming down from the ignition switch. I didn't see any. So now I got a jumper, and I'm just going to run it to hot, and that is connected to where that post goes. And when I go to do that, it does crank. So that's telling me I got no signal. That's telling me I get no signal coming from the ignition switch down to that. So that's going to be a bit of more of a pain in the ass. Usually it's just that solenoid that acts up. And it did work intermittently. It would work once in a while. So I'm going to go some probing. Hopefully it is not the ignition switch itself, and we have to go chase that. It would be nice if it was just the wire was broke on the end, but I don't think so. And of course, this has a whole nother system tied into that runs from the remote of the remote, the remote of the remote. So one thing that had me was, well, I should say, one thing I was thinking about was the fact that the shifter was really hard to move into park, and you can kind of see that it's not really in there. I'm kind of wondering, is the neutral safety switch being an issue? I don't know if it'll go in neutral. There you go. All right, so it's the neutral safety switch. There it is. Found. Okay, let's go bring this thing up, get some lube on that shifting assembly there, and try to get that to slop around a little bit easier. Well, that was easier than expected, and grateful for it. Hopefully you can see. So this is the shifter cable coming down from the shifter up top, and this is the selector, what gear you're in, and this is neutral safety switch, and probably some other stuff tied into that also. And that's where she's all bindy. So I think I'm just going to go give her a thorough lashing. I don't really want to take it apart because, as you say, looking at that hardware, you can definitely see that we're going to cause ourselves issues of breaking stuff off. If it doesn't free up, or if it gets worse, like right now, at least we can work with it. We'll open it up, but I think we might be able to get it just by giving her some juice here and there. Get it up into the cables where I shoot you in the eye. And we'll work that around a little bit. I don't know if there's a linkage up top. That usually isn't where it rusts out. This is, again, it was probably parked in a lake. And all that stuff got goobered up. Let's see if that'll free up for us. Am I far enough in? I guess we'll call that a win. I think I lost my battery connection. Pump those brakes. I say we go to the remote and see if we can get everything working from the remote, and we'll work our way back to the bucket as far as the electronics are concerned. All right, do you think, I think we're gonna flip those toggle switches too for it to work remotely. So there's one that's for start, controller selector, lower, and engine start. See if that'll work for us. Nothing. We go turn those switches on. Let's see if that one will do it. There we go. See if it'll start though. Good. Shut off. Do we have to have the key on though? I'm just kind of wondering, like if you're sitting with the battery run down. See if we get anything this way. Yeah. So the key has to be on for the remote to work. Alright. How about emergency power? So I hear the pump working, but I don't think it runs anything. That's the next thing we have to get working for the fact that if the van does not start, that's your backup. So like I said, it has an electric starter. Here, I'll take you inside and take a look. Up inside there, that thing right there, that little motor with the hoses going to it, that's like a auxiliary motor that's supposed to run to be able to run the hydraulics if the primary system doesn't work. So let's, you hear it spinning, but it just didn't seem like it was doing anything. Let's go take a look at the boom and we'll try it again. I wonder if they just want you to leave the van running every time you're up there. Seems like a kind of a waste though, huh? You're not moving. All right, so we want emergency power. And then we want to see, get the boom to go up. Yeah. It says nothing. I don't know if you have to hold the controller on at the same time. Let's try that. Yeah, nothing. Sounds like it's running dry, doesn't it? Like, listen to it. Let's go get that side cover off, get a better look at that motor. Let's get this access panel off of here. Should give us a better view of what's happening. It was missing one of the screws, so somebody's already been in there ahead of us. Better look at what we have. There's the pump. I wonder if it runs any kind of, let me grab a light. You can peek around the corner. That's a better shot at it. Looks like a starter, doesn't it? So that's spinning. I wonder if something else, I see all the valves are open. I see that valve's in the open position. The one down below is in the open position. I wonder if it's just not getting an electrical signal to turn on. bunch of relays in here. We got, I wonder if, so the ones on the bottom are fuses, it looks like. Those are like resettable fuses, I think. That's a diode. Another resettable fuse. What is this one right here? Oh, that, well, think that might be an issue? It's hot too. I guess no power is going through that one, huh? That might energize a circuit that allows it to do that. So let's go recrimp. We need a new wire. Yes, that would energize whatever that relay is. So we already know we got one of them at least not working. Is there one pair? That's that one. And you got a red one. I'm not sure where that one goes. And then the orange one comes down here and works that one. I don't know if they had a terminal on it or not at one point. Not sure. All right, let me go get an end on that, and we'll see if that makes anything come back to life. That'd be easy if it was, huh? I don't know if we need to strip that back. Maybe we'll just cut off the rotten part. See if we can get it back to some shiny. I'm sure that was any bit of a problem, you know. I got a solderless connector, which all those other ones are too. Feed that in there. Give her a good crimp. And works something. Let's go get that nut off of there. I'll get that clamped on there, and we'll see if anything else comes alive. Maybe we have to go a little bit deeper. That's the post after I took the nut off of there. She's a flapper. Is that riveted on? Oh, that's gonna be fun. What did they do that for? Maybe we can just pop that thing right out of there. It might just, there you go, clipped in. Let me see if we can go grab another one of those. That thing got hot, huh? I think we cooked. I got a new one, but I had a tab mounted to it. So I had to go crush that off the back of it. It was just pop riveted on there. Want to see what's on the inside? My guess is it's kind of like a blinker switch on the old cars. As it gets hot, this is like a bimetallic metal. Probably pops up, disconnects, yeah, opens up a set of points inside there, and then when it cools off, the metal cools off, it pops back down and makes a circuit again. That's that one. I'm gonna open this one, see what it looks like. Let's go see if that'll come off of there. Yeah. Not like we're gonna hurt it, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, don't think that was functioning like it should. Because this post was floating around. So it wasn't even in the window where it was supposed to contact that. It may have still been working slightly because it was drawing some heat. It was definitely getting a bunch of high resistance. Alright, enough of that. Let's go put the other one back in. Alright, that's hooked back up. Let's see if we get anything out of it. Alright, so we want emergency. And I don't hear nothing. Yeah, you get nothing. It's like crashing into the wall behind us. Let's go pop one of those off. We'll pop that wire off and we'll see if that was the one for the pump. And it was just barely making it. It's just my guess, you know. Let's de-energize it. And I don't want to spark anything to the side. It's live. Talk about using the right tool for our job. Be using insulated pliers, but 12 volts. Alright, let's just see what was powered on that circuit. Nothing of those relays ain't any good, right? Alright. Let's go see if it still operates that. And I guess we should probably get a test light. What we'll do is we'll jump across each one of them, see if we find anything that's dead. Let's go see what that operates though. Was that for the crank? Was that for, where is it? Where's the start? Yeah. So if we hook that one back up. Yeah, that's what that one's for. Well, I guess that one's important. To at least make sure that the van will start from the up position. That was on its way out, huh? I wonder if that was also part of the problem of that intermittent start from the key. I know it wasn't helping anything. All right, I'm gonna go grab a test light and see if we have any of these circuits that are dead. I mean, this should light up. It's a crappy test light, but there you go. Lights up and lights up. That means power's going through both of those circuits. Power comes in from the bottom here. This is the hot lead, and it jumps to the two of them. The power's going in, going through them, going out the other side. Let's go check that top one first to see if it even has power. It doesn't. Yeah, it does. It does. So that one has power going across it. Relays, I don't. It's got power. It's got no power. I don't know what runs that circuit. I don't have a. That one's got power. And of course, that's got no plug on it whatsoever. I don't know if we ever had one though. You see any wires that are, you know, flapping? I don't see anything off of anything or just cut off or missing. So that relay may just work on that fashion. So the yellow comes down to here and goes through. So does that center got power? Yeah, the center power has power. Whether they switch or not, I don't know. I also wonder if we have to do anything maybe with the, I know there was a problem up in the bucket, and there was a emergency stop that was kind of busted up. I wonder if that is screwing us up. I don't see anything else on here we can play with, right? Yeah, so let's go up in the bucket. We'll see what works and doesn't work and go from there. Possibly maybe that's why it's not allowing it to move if it thinks it has an e-stop on. That's just a guess. Yeah, without a wiring diagram. I don't know if you can be able to get a wiring diagram for something like this. You know, it's not like it's a ton of them made. So sitting in the bucket is tire chains and some wire. And I am hoping that is not out of that upper controller. That's going to suck if it is. But we're going to, I guess, go find out right now, huh? Yeah, you would think that would make that emergency power work right now, wouldn't you? You have to push that down there. Yeah, we got nothing. And I think this kind of like, yeah, just pops right out of there. So who knows what's happening with that. All right, well, let's go get those two screws out and see what kind of, there's more, one more in the back. One's missing. So again, somebody's been hunting inside there. They don't look like they're factory anyway. Anyway, let's get those out of there, get that panel up, and hopefully there's some wires connected to it. I hope you don't go crashing to the ground because you're a vice grip to the bucket and not very well at that. Let's see what this has to offer us. This comes right out with no wires. Oh, there's stuff in here. Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy. That might be an issue. I don't know if they're not supposed to be connected on purpose and half of them are used, or somebody cut those. Kind of seems like almost everything's hooked up. The ESOP switch. How does... You can hear it making and not making a circuit. Where is the crank? Emergency power. This is this one. Now it works up here. That's weird. Emergency power and all right. So what does the blue one do? You would think you would have to hold the blue one down, right, for it to work things. Would be my guess. Kind of like a dead man, right? You don't want to brush up against the button and have it move you. I don't know if that works for the. Yeah. I just don't think that pump does anything. I think everything's kind of, you know, maybe that pump is stripped out or not pushing fluid, or I'm not sure. Let's go fire the truck up. It's kind of weird that it doesn't have a. Well, it says start and stop. Let's go. So, like start and stop for the motor, you think? Like the truck engine? Why the handheld would have it and not this doesn't make sense. Start, stop. Like, so what? I don't know. I'm gonna go fire up the truck and we'll see what we get. Yeah, those wires hanging out the back kind of scared me. All right, so I have the handheld. Should be able to start the truck from here. Now let's go see if anything works. That kills the engine. So how would it start? Yeah, there's this, the green one? Yeah. Wish I had something up here with me. I want to jump these two contacts. I want to see if the van starts by jumping those two. If so, that would make the start and stop make sense. You would still think it would have a dead man though, right? You get something to jump those two wires. Well, actually, it's... So what is this? The black. Do I have a test light up here? I do not. The other thing too, shouldn't I have to go upper and lower controller? That might that might help. Let's go see if that does anything. Let's go jump that. Let's go jump that switch and see if the engine starts. No. All right. But that would need power to work. I wonder if no power is coming up here. It seems like the black lead falling. The black seems like it's common with everything. So that looks like it's power coming in. I don't know what it's going to use for ground. Let's go put a test light on it. I don't know if the body's grounded. I don't see a wire going to ground. So I would think power coming in. So they're all jumped together. That could be the ground side of it too, I don't know. Yeah, nothing. Something's got to light up. I know there's 12 volts up here, right? I don't think I have a good ground though. Yeah, try ground into the boom. I think the boom's going to be isolated though, in case you get that power lines or something. Yeah, we got power there. Okay. So power, no power. So green coming in is power. Let's see if anything. So that's power. This one has power. Let's get this one. So that works. That's to shut it off. Well, that's had somebody else in there before. I don't know what that's going to be for. Let's go probe it. Nothing. I would think that's just, does it open a circuit or close it for killing the engine when it's running? What is that one? Up, down. So I would say this black lead, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's common in all of them. That one, this one, I've got the end cut off of it right there. That had wires coming out at one point. Is there another black wire that is broke? That definitely had a wire on it. That's no longer. I wonder if that was power in. Because if that doesn't have power, it's not going to energize any of these circuits. It's fed from that one. Alright, so power goes through. And they all got power. So that's it. You got to hold that button down. You got to hold that button down for. I hear a relay clicking. I hear a relay clicking. All right. But why does that one say start stop? Like, how would you? Can you lift up on it? It must be. There must be a way to start the van through that switch, and it's not working. Let's go fire it up with the other one. We'll hold the blue button down, and we'll see if the bucket works. Hope it does. Just a lot of chasing stuff to try to figure out what's doing what. All right, so you're supposed to start it. Hold this one down. There we go. All right. Down doesn't work. So out, in, left and right I don't want to hit, but up. Down doesn't work. That might be an issue. Alright, let's go see if down works on this one. Where is it? Lower. We have no lower boom. Well, I'm glad I didn't go up very high. Yeah. There it goes. Click that one back to upper. I say it's a relay that's kind of sticky. Okay. We got to be able to figure out why we can't start it from up here, though. I think it's the only thing that's not functioning, which is kind of an issue, because if you shut it off, you're not going to fire it back up again. So I do see, I guess, 2 circuits, right? I guess we'll take a test light. We'll figure out which one shuts it off, which one when we hit that shuts off a circuit. You can hear it clicking. And then another one's going to have to jump it to make it start. So I would say this is power, and this is out, and this is out, right? And one of those just needs voltage to it to make it crank. They just plugged in there? No, they're screwed in. Let me get a jumper wire. Huh? Shits and giggles, and we'll just try to, actually, can we just see what it does. Come on, crank for me. No, that's going to be the off one probably. Alright, I'm going to get a jumper wire. We're going to go jump from that one to that. They're the same anyway. We're going to jump from there to there. We'll see if it cranks. If so, then we know that we need to get another part or something internal inside here with this switch. Got stabbed in that side. Let's go see if we can. I'm ready to lose it. Come on. A reusable game of popping off. Let's go see if that'll. Yeah. I hear it clicking. Should be the same circuit. So let's fire in that circuit. I know what it is. I'm pushing the switch up and down, and I think it's turning it on and off. Let me get reset a little bit better. That's doesn't look like it's in there all that great. And let's see if. Come on, crank for me. Talk to me. You don't think we have to push that down, do you? For the start the work? Let me go get you in a stand. Push that down and... No. There it goes. So it's the lower one. That shuts it off. So the lower circuit is the one that's not being made. And I would guess that we have to pull up for that to work. Let's go take that switch apart. See if we can figure out what's going on inside there. We could just bring the whole thing down onto a bench maybe. I'm gonna unscrew it and disassemble. So it looks like that the upper part of the switch wasn't screwed into it. So when you went to go pull up on the button, it just kind of came right out of the socket. But we're gonna go test the circuits anyway. So it was it these two across from each other? Turn the meter on. Let's put the meter where you can see it. Let's go to, you can see it? And then we got to go to ohms. Let me make sure I got you in the shot. All right. Open circuit, if I push it in. Make sure my meter is working. It is. Actually, you know what it was? It's side to side. No? So we need that one. To that one. If we push the button at one of them should be the shut off. None of them want to work. My meter working? Yep. We know we worked up there. There we go. Okay, so that one stalls it out. And then this one, you lift up on it, should go, there we go. That's kind of intermittent though, huh? Yeah, it's not repeating itself. Get a better grip on it. There it goes. Kind of just stays there for a second though, huh? I wonder if there's a way that we can go clean that switch. Probably pop it right out of there, and or if you just take out like a bunch of contact cleaner and rinse out the post of that, because you know this thing's been out in the weather forever, you know. That's one way. And it's just gravity feed up on the other side of it. Yeah, I'm gonna go take a minute. Can we get that out of there without breaking? I don't want to break it off, you know, the little tabs. Again, I'm sure all this stuff is pretty brittle. I may work with it right on there. Well, what I think was what was up. Oh, it's not going to come apart. Oh, it was the button. I think the button was just kind of sitting on top of it and wasn't connected. And it's got threads on the inside of it that lock it down, which made it so that you couldn't pull up to start it. But I'm going to go rinse that out, clean it as best we can, screw that back in, and we'll go up there and we'll see if it starts and stops. Probably should take some compressed air. There's the switch right there. I'm going to take some compressed air and try to blow in through all the little cracks. It's already got like a slight crack in the plastic. I think it's right there, that I don't want to keep wrenching on it. The top just clicks on. So as far as putting the button on, you flick that to the side, it locks in. I'm going to take a picture of it. I don't know if I can get any numbers off of that. I'll try to look for something online, see if I can get this whole piece and replace it, because I don't trust it. I guess worst case, if you're up there, as long as I leave a screwdriver up there, I can get in there, put the two wires together and have it start back up. I got wired back up. We should be able to pull it and start. There we go. I would say now it doesn't shut off. There we go. I definitely say, for the fact of what that's running and the fact that I can get stuck up here, that might be a good idea to replace that at some point. But at least we got it figured out and have an idea what controls what. I'm going to go screw this panel back into place. And one last function check. The one thing that sucks, this bucket, if you lean from one side to the other, it shifts about, only about an inch. Of course, now it's not going to do it. There it goes. It's got about an inch play in it, but it startles you every time it does it. All right, pull up should start it. We push this down, should work these buttons. Not exactly smooth, apparently, but you guys leaning over. Now, nothing should happen when I don't have that button, right? Right. Okay. So that's good. E-stop runs, but doesn't fire anything. So we still have a problem with whatever is happening with that secondary system for it to work. But at least we got the primary system working at all locations. I'm happy about that, at least. All right, so we got brake pedal. Fluid not shooting out everywhere. Don't know if those calipers are going to lock up. We have charging system, cooling system, power steering, said brakes. All the controls are working in two locations, I guess. Yeah, it's going to be the handheld controller and the bucket up top. Both function for the primary system. We just do not have that secondary system going. I don't know what we're going to go about doing to test for hydraulic pressure. I'm going to go take a few minutes, actually read the instructions. I'm wondering if there's some kind of valve that we need to go turn. I wouldn't think it would use a separate like reservoir for hydraulic fluid. I think it would all be on the same system. My guess, again, you know, I'm making this up as I go along. So I'm going to go poke around a little bit, see if I can educate myself and find possibly what is not working for that to do what it needs to do. I think just for the sake of trying, we should probably look into that wire that we had removed on here. Just throw some power to it. That lower plug is going to need. Let's see if we get that in there to stay. that to 12 volts. We'll tap it real quick. Doesn't seem to be drawing anything. Alright. Let's go try it. See if that maybe is energy for some relays. Yeah, see if that does anything. So we want emergency power. And be on lower, right? Nah, still nothing. I wonder if the pump is spinning like on the shaft and the gears kind of wiped out. Like maybe the motor just is going. I don't know. I might leave that till tomorrow. I got some errands I gotta go run. So I flicked on the inverter and reset the breaker on it, which runs that power strip. And we have light built in. AC power on board, running off of that battery. Now I suppose when the van's running, it back charges that battery up. But for now it seems to be okay. So only thing I'm seeing, there is, again, that pump. On the side of it there is a relay switch, kind of like what the starter switch has in the front there. It has these wires coming out of it. I think one set comes from the control up above, and the other one goes into here, which goes up and around. My guess is like one of the relays, so it's getting power to turn the pump on, but it's not getting power to fire the valves for the relays. And my guess is that's what these are. It has to be somewhere on the van that tells each control valve to open and close. Let's go cut the tie wraps back on this one. So it's going into here. Let's go cut those off, separate it, and we can kind of see what circuits they're going to. Maybe there's a master that's not getting power. That group of wires right there. One more. Alright, so it is going to, you would think it would you want for each circuit too, right? Because if you're up there on the controls, you're going to have one for, you know, up, down, left, right, and in and out. So my guess would be like 1, 2, where does that one go? All the way down to that master one that's down there. We know this one disconnects the crank, right? So it makes it so it starts. Let's go take one of the nuts off of here and disconnect power to it and see if the emergency goes away. Emergency power. Yeah, so that's going to be, that's emergency power. Nope, that's not that. One of them's got to be it, right? You would think one of those would put it on some kind of resistor. I'm going to do the same for the top one, see if the top one goes away. And probably what I should do is take a Sharpie and start marking stuff as we figure it out. So that next time we go in there and look, we know what we're dealing with. Let's go for once I got some insulation on them. Alright. Same to the top one. Again, it could always be that hydraulic pump is just dead. It's spinning, but it's not moving any fluid, and everything's working. You would think that when I would hit a relay, you would get like a slight draw in the system. Let's see if we get. Come off of there. Yeah. So that's what it is. All right, the top one is the one that controls that. So I'm gonna go get a Sharpie, start writing at least the two that we know of, and then as we figure stuff out, I'm gonna do the same. I kind of figured out what start and stop was, and look at these big leads coming down. So that one's start, and that one's stop. I'm gonna label those. So that is not going to be part of the solenoid part of it. We can get, I'm going to guess, that one out of the circuit, and where the stop was this one, and it goes down to this one. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something totally that has nothing to do with the up, down, left, and right. Probably what I should do is fire it up and run these controls, and as I go to kind of bump them a little bit, test and see if I'm getting power to any of these circuits, and see if this is even what that does. My guess it would be, because I really don't see, it would have some kind of access somewhere on it. I don't think they'd hide it that much under the dash or something, you know. I think it would be right here, right? All right, so it's the next day. I took a little bit of time, just kind of cleaned up a little bit, vacuumed out the inside, got all the crap out of it, buttoned up the panels, and I kind of gonna let that go and move on with some other things, not get too caught up in trying to get that secondary system to go. I definitely would like to have that, but I'm just not quite sure. And I figure I'll let this we'll let this video run and see what pops up in the comments, see if somebody can steer me in the right direction. I'm thinking either the pump is just failed, not doing what it's supposed to do, or possibly it has an airlock inside of it where it's has no fluid right where the pump is, and it's kind of sucking air and not being able to prime itself. That's the other thought. But anyway, I'm going to keep moving forward, start getting the rest of the punch list of stuff done on it. I think the next thing we should jump on is probably that exhaust system, and we'll get rid of where they cut that cat out and left the half-inch gap of the two pipes together, and so you can kind of quiet it up a little bit. And then maybe after that, we have the driver's door is a bit of a mess. You have to open it from the inside. So without further ado, let's get into that. I'd say it's a clever installation, wouldn't you? Wait, it gets better. At least they put clamps on it. I have a feeling we have that same gap on both sides. Rip this crap off. And I don't know if we can kind of maybe hammer it down and just get some welds on it, or we have to shim it in between the two. Let me get that off of there. You gotta ask yourself, how valuable is a 22-year-old catalytic converter? Might spend more in metal tape than a clamp would be. I wonder if we can kind of just slide that from one side to the other and get the pipe out of there, would be my guess. No? And maybe we'll work with what we got right there. I'm guessing maybe we can just take and make some pie cuts around it, and we just kind of hammer it down and take a clamp and like crush it down on it and then get a weld on it. This side, I don't know, we don't have that much room to work with. I'm gonna take a quick look, see if I have any pipe that diameter. I do not think so though. I think we might be just better off working with that. Actually, I think I might have it. There we go. Good, that way at least we can take it to the wire wheel and clean up the galvy that's on, so you get a good weld. I was just left it like that. Probably sound the same. So that's the idea of it. I do not think I have anything that big of a diameter in the stash. Yeah, it's like even that fence post stuff is too small. We'll put some side pipes on it. Cover the rust that's in the rockers. Yeah, that's the same as what we got. All right, we'll figure out how to go crush that down about this. Same thing. All right, it broke down. I bought a piece of pipe. It's looking actually pretty close to that side of it. It's just a 36-inch piece of pipe. Like that. And if we could stuff it that way far enough back, let's see what we got on the other end. Can actually use a flare on both ends. That one's like right there too. I think it's got a dent in it. Yeah, the end of it's dented. I think we get that out of there. And if I have to, I'll put a little bit of a slice in it. We'll kick it open a little bit. Hopefully we can go one direction and then back the other way. While they're on, call it a day. So that's actually do just fine with a exhaust clamp. When fortunately they are out of stock. Imagine that. I'll have them tomorrow. This side is pretty much one for one though. So I'm gonna go put a couple of cuts in it, see if we can get the flare out a little bit and get over it and either weld them up, or when the clamp goes on it might shut it up. I don't know, maybe wrap a pair of chain vice grips around it. Give her a couple of wraps. See how close we can get it to draw up on that side. I think that's going to be about it. I think we can just wrap on them with a hammer, close this up, and I can buzz them shut with the welder. And the top one, yeah, we'll leave that a breather hole. You ready to squint? We're going to zap that pipe the rest of the way around as best I can. I can get the 180 on this side, no problem. I'll get as best I can. I got 2 clamps coming at the end of it. I'll throw a clamp on each end. I'd say it's good enough. Got 90% of the way around. I'm still going to throw exhaust clamp on that, like I said, when they come in tomorrow. And pretty much did the same on the other side without the splits. And now we get a clamp also. Alright, I said we put her back down on the ground, fire it up, and see how she purrs. And you know, sometime in the future, we'll be digging for pipe. And that one that's hiding will come back out of its hibernation. Let's see what we get. Watch, it's just as loud. The exhaust manifold's like falling right off of it. Yeah, it's still pretty rumbly. Yeah, that ain't coming out of the pipe. I think it's coming out of the front manifolds. Oh well. I guess it's better. Trying to convince myself of that. Alright, let's go screw with this door for a little bit. So my guess is the inside handle is bust it off. Unlocks and unlocks. It works from there, but just not the other side. We've got to get to pop that thing out of there. We get behind that with a screwdriver. Pop that off. That should just slip right in through there. And you would think you have a bolt or two in it somewhere, huh? My guess is a rod just broke right off of it. Go check the other side. See if it's got a little more movement. That feels weird. Yeah, we got to go in. Yeah, a couple of hidden screws. You ever get the feeling everything that is broken has already been looked at once before? That was already pulled apart. So someone's been, of course, in there, took a peek, and said, I give. So we need the door handle. I'm hoping for a rod that's off of it. It looks like it wants to try to move it, just not enough distance. I don't know if that's showing up or not. Any junk in the way or not. So, what's that pulling on the... I wonder if we can get that latch right out of there. Maybe we can get rid of some of that play where it pushes a little bit more on that pivot point compared to the inside handle, which is this one. I gotta do a little bit of poking hoping because I can't see up in here. There might not even be a connection to it. Not sure. Try to get you up there where you can see. It looks like you can adjust that yellow. See, that's the rod coming down from it, and that's pulling where the latch is. But it looks like it's threaded, like it's adjustable. Like you might be able to take that, you could take it out of there and spin it a few turns. You get to just to pull a little bit more, it might work. I'm gonna try that. All right, let me see if we go deal with that racket. Well, the right tool for the right job. Pardon me, coming in. Give her a little. Think it'll stay. We clear? On the bottom a little more fudging. I don't think the bottom's connected. That might be an issue. Works. Yeah, it's rotted right out. But as long as it doesn't hit it. It'll be a lot less annoying getting in and out of it. Tack weld probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, that's not happening. Get the door panel all back together again. Watch it not work. Good. Makes it easier. You don't have to crawl through the passenger side. I lifted it back up in the air. Shoot some lube on that shift linkage again. And there's your problem. It's missing the studs broke off on the back of the manifold, causing a direct leak. Looking right there. Same thing on the other side. You see all the black soot coming around it. So that's the exhaust leaks. We're not screwing with that. It's gonna just have to make noise, I guess. I think our next best thing, I think we got pretty much everything, well, that we know of right now kind of knocked out. So let me put a new starter in it. I think we should shove it outside and let it run. And you can see all this sit. I think the upper one's broken on that one. Let it run, come up to temperature, see if you have any issues, see if any of those overheating issues, that kind of thing. It's 10 degrees out, so I don't expect it to get that hot. But again, we don't know what the cooling system works now that the belt's hooked up to the water pump and stuff's spinning, whether it decides to spit some coolant out. It's been around, I don't know, about a half hour or so. Temp seems to be okay, right in the normal range. Gas, I put some gas in it, and hopefully to thin out that crappy gas that's in there. Charging system seems like it's fine, oil pressure seems like it's fine. Runs like crap. It sounds, remember the beginning of the movie Christine? When he first fires up the car and it's sitting there idling, pulling back? Doesn't it sound like it? It's alright, as long as it stays running and moves. I think this engine has the Ford spark plugs that are like the real long ones and they break off when you go to screw with them. This thing has, again, 163,000 miles on it, and on top of that, this thing sat and ran to run the bucket, so it's probably got like equivalent to double that on it. So I think we'll leave well enough alone as far as that's concerned. Too late tonight to go do anything. I want to do a beat run in the sand pit, so maybe we'll do that tomorrow and see what falls off of it, see if it stays together, and we'll go from there. Sorry about the smudge on the camera, I just noticed it. I don't know how long it was on the video, but you had a smear in the middle of your face. Let's do a restart. Brake light stays out too. Still gotta get some of the air out of the line, but it feels like the rear brakes are working. All right, till tomorrow. All right, cold start next morning. Not without a key. Smooth. All right, let's go take her for a romp ride. I get the strange feeling this is gonna be a noisy ride. All right. Oh, that's full throttle. Should I hit the bumps? Oh. I don't know what that was. Definitely. I'll lock him up. Stops pretty good. Yeah, it definitely sounds like running at about 5. You would think a check engine light would come on for that, wouldn't you? Warning, no seatbelts. Safety third. Still got to warm up a little bit. It might get a little bit better. I was hoping good fuel in it would kind of help it, you know, clear up a miss. Probably not. All right. Let's do a function check on the boom at full tilt. Find a good spot to park. It's 4 degrees out. I apologize for the wind noise. ahead of time, but I'm going to quickly run it through the function check all the way up, down and around with the remote. I'm not going on up in the bucket right now, just too cold. Okay guys, I think that qualifies as a win. I don't think it's anything that's fallen off or is leaking. I'm happy with that. And I am cold and the battery's flashing. So I think, guys, we're gonna go call it on this one. Thank y'all for hanging out with you. I really appreciate it. Again, another work vehicle to my list, and to my pile, I guess. And we got other ones on the way, so stay tuned. All right guys, till then, I'll see you. Bye. And just a little side note, a long time ago, a subscriber with the first bucket truck sent me a bunch of gear to be kind of proper as far as what I'm doing inside there. So there's harnesses and whatnot inside there, helmets, and everything that you would need to connect you to the bucket so you don't go flopping out of it while you're 25 feet in the air.